Well, it looks like another day and another update in the Nijisanji situation. Dokibird issuing a full response to what Niji livers had to say on that stream from a few days ago. Let's take a look at what Doki has to say. I was ready to move on. I had made my last statement and I haven't looked at anything regarding my past for a full week. I didn't look at anything regarding legal documents or anything regarding my situation since I moved back to Doki. I wanted to be hopeful for the future and never interact with that side again. So sad to see it all come back and reopen a wound that I was ready to heal from and have to talk to my lawyer again on how to respond. And next she'll talk about the document that was mentioned multiple times in the live stream mentioned at the beginning of the video. The one that Vox in particular seemed to have a lot to say about. So now back to Doki. She says, the document mentioned was at first made to document my thoughts and history with evidence so that my lawyer can see the general picture of what was going on and if there were issues that should be addressed. It was first made during my darkest time mentally and I wrote everything on my mind little by little at that time. I made the document thinking that it was never going to be public to anyone but to my lawyer. Although it was a document filled with my personal info as well privacy info that should not be public, there were no other addresses or specific locations mentioned. Regarding a recording, this was not intended to be anything other than a distribution test for planning of a collaborative event between two people, which happened to be left over from one test recording. And I never recorded any other conversations with anyone. The recording was never shown anywhere, even in a legal setting, and there are no other records. However, I regret that it was mentioned, and I am sorry to all parties affected for the misunderstanding in this. I requested that I just wanted to move on. Sometimes I didn't hear anything for days from the lawyers on the other side, and felt like I'd been alone and isolated for a long time. It made it so hard for me mentally. On February 5th, my lawyer discussed and said it will be best to show the document I wrote to the other lawyers, as we have not heard from them for a week or any negotiation talks or given a meeting to discuss after my request to part. It was never intended to be used for anything else. I've asked my lawyer to convey that and have communication that the document, as it was written, was not going to be released anywhere, and my lawyer did so when sending the document. Less than 2 hours after my lawyer sent the document, the termination notice came out. I was very shocked, but thought that was the last time I will hear or think about the document and that this, personally, and my own opinion, was the end of the lawyers and legal involvement. Alright, I'm going to pause real quick, but I'm just going to try and be very brief on this part because I want to focus on what Doki has to say here. But with the information that we were just given, this makes it sound like all Doki really wanted to do was to simply leave Nijisanji, but for whatever reason, she had to get her lawyer involved, potentially due to contracts and things like that. But this is particularly interesting because on the Livers stream on Pandora's channel from a few days ago, Vox had made it sound like it's very easy for anyone to leave the company if they want. But apparently with Doki, it really wasn't that easy for her to leave, and now here we are. And of course, we'll never know 100% without a shadow of a doubt like what actually happened here. All we can do is assess the publicly available information and make the most reasonable assessment possible. Once again, back to Doki. She says, all of the communication was done between lawyers and Japanese. Things are not black and white, and everything gets more complicated and muddled when lawyers are involved in a different country. When things are conveyed to multiple parties through different degrees of communication, everything turns into different narratives and different translations. I thought it was over, and I've accepted what happened and was ready to move on. Everything I post to the public about the situation was a response. If it was a month ago, it would have been different, as I was angry, but I was also very alone in my head. But it's not a month ago, and I've accepted it. I wanted it to be neutral and private, but now the whole world is involved and the public is watching every step that happens. I am not perfect and I have faults. I had to watch my dad cry and break down in front of me for the first time in my life last night. Despite everything that has happened, please show kindness to all parties involved. There are real people behind the monitors. One of the reasons why I wanted this to be private is that the internet can be a cruel place, and I knew this would happen the moment this type of notice drops. What I didn't reveal to anyone, and only my parents and therapists knew, was that it was not one attempt but two, which happened a few weeks after the first. My parents found me in time after searching for me for hours before anything happened. I was in a really dark place, and I do not wish this to anyone. No one should go through what I went through. I reveal this now not for pity, but to state that no life, no matter what, should be risked for ego or winning anything. There are no winners in this. Please don't make it like high school. Treat everyone like adults, and with some empathy and kindness. For those who wish to see receipts or documents or anything else, hoping I will reveal them, I'm sorry, but these are the things that should be private and if needed between lawyers. Revealing private documents and talking about the details within will only just make things worse and more complicated as outside parties get involved and will just hurt everyone. No one deserves to be pushed over the edge. So many people have got hurt and involved even if they were innocent bystanders. In the end, I will always be here to respond, and that is the only thing I will do in public. I hope this will be the last statement I have to make. Hopping over to the Niji Reddit, we've got some responses here at the very top. The top comment reads, "Reading this statement really hurt, man. Not even once, but twice. I'm glad she's still with us. That's all I gotta say." A response reading, "The part about her dad breaking down and crying really got me. His precious daughter, who laughs, brightens up a whole room full of strangers, just attempted to take her own life, and now the monsters who are responsible for her pain just declared war on her on a stream. How the heck can these people sleep at night?" And a response reading, "I've heard people try and downplay the consequences of doing a public slander piece, by 3 supposed friends no less, of someone who is suicidal both here and elsewhere on the internet, and it's just baffling. Yeah, no surprise her dad would break down. Anyone in their right mind would know how bad this is during a time when someone is especially vulnerable for someone they care about and what it might push them to. Niji must have known. The 3 livers that did this must have known. You don't get to shove someone teetering on the edge and pretend you didn't know what could happen." And the person who was just responded to then responds to that person saying, "I know. This is why I'm so angry and disappointed at those 3 that the whole argument that they are quote-unquote forced to do that video has been frickin' thrown out the window. What the heck would these 3 feel if she does it again and is successful? I wonder what these 3 would feel. I've been through what she's been through, but never managed to go through with it with the help of my family and friends. So this really shakes me to my core, and I think I need to take a break from visiting the sites." Elsewhere in the thread, people hope that she can just move forward now finally. Yet others say that Niji's just gonna keep pouring more gasoline in the fire. And the OP of the post itself references one of Doki's recent live streams and says, "All we wanted to do was watch her goof around in Neopets, any color." And some further speculation in this post reads, "Okay, so now we know why Nijisanji terminated her the way they did. They were willing to drag the situation for as long as possible. I guess they were still hoping that Selen would relent and come back as she was one of their biggest members. However, the moment the legal document came through, it was like inflammatory reflect, as if they attempted to make a preemptive strike against Doki. It was as if they were scared that she might sue them, but that still does not explain the childish and amateurish mishaps." Yeah, it's odd. I mean, if they were afraid she was going to sue them when all she wanted to do was leave the company, then why would they not just let her leave the company? It seems like denying her that would make her more likely to sue, not less likely. So the whole thing is just really weird. But perhaps weird logic is part of the chorus with Nijisanji. And finally, people compare how Doki has handled this entire situation with how Niji has handled this situation, saying this is how a person with dignity responds. Everyone should learn from her how to reply with class. One cursed stream that did far more harm than good, referencing the Niji live stream. And this person saying, "That's still putting it mildly. Is there even any good we got from the stream? 3 Niji livers went on the stage to slander a former coworker and alleged friend, damaging their reputation forever. 2 others were named for no frickin' reason, making people point fingers at them. Doki's first gaming stream was cut short, giving a recovering girl another mental blow." Alright, that's where I'll wrap the segment up. That's Doki's statement, some of my opinion, and some public reception. Consider letting me know what you think about all of this in the comments, however. I'll see you there, and as always, thank you so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day.